I'm going to say this and then I ain't going to say nothing else. Man, I remember when my kids were young and my husband and I, we separated and then, of course, ended up divorcing. And I had to maintain and manage everything. It was tough. It was rough, but I kept going. I had some moments when I failed, because we all fail our children in moments. None of us will get away with not having failed our children in moments. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking how tough it was, how rough it was, just trying to maintain sometimes. I remember one time I didn't have a whole lot, maybe it was in between paychecks, I'm sure it was. And I didn't have a lot of food because I refused to get government assistance. And I didn't have a lot of food. And I fixed a meal and I had to make the meal. I fixed the meal where I had to make sure the kids ate because it wasn't enough for me to eat. It was tough. It was tough. I never missed a parent-teacher conference. I never missed any of my children's after-school activities. Never. Never. Unless I think my son might have had an away game or two that I didn't attend, and my daughter might have had a track meet that I didn't attend that might have been away. But I never, every parent-teacher conference, I was there. Every one. Never missed one. Never. After they got out of school, I made sure they got their snack. They always tease me because I made sure they got a drink and a sweet and a salt. And the kids tease me to this day about that. But they had that, once they got out of school, you get out of school, you get your homework out, you get your snack, you get your homework out, you do your homework, you get that out the way. They get to play a little bit. After they played a little bit, it was dinner time. I made dinner. After they ate their dinner, they got to watch a little TV or whatever back then they did, you know. I know Nintendo was out then, and so they had games, consoles, and things like that. I never bought name brand shoes, name brand sneakers. Never bought them. Never bought them. Refused to buy them. And had the money to buy them sometimes, but never bought them. Never bought them. As long as they were clean, they had clothes to wear, that was my concern. Didn't allow them to listen to rap music. They listened to it when they went maybe at my mom's and hung out with some of their cousins or something like that, or hung out with their friends. But for the most part, rap music was not allowed because it was too derogatory, and it didn't say uplifting stuff that I wanted my children to hear. So I let them listen to things like even country music. I let my children listen to that. I let my children listen to any other music other than foolish music. I was in their head at all times. But I tell you one sure thing, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about my life. And as I'm thinking about my life as a single mother, I'm also thinking about you all out there now and how hard it's got to be for y'all. Women are some amazing creatures, the things that we have to deal with. I think about how I had to sustain, how I was in between relationships, you know, because, you know, we always had to have a man, honey. And when you're that young, you want to have somebody. You want to be wrapped around somebody, and you want somebody wrapped around you. And I think about that. And I think about the struggles of that. I think about if you were my man, when my children were coming up, they didn't meet, you know, I didn't have my door swinging back and forth. That wasn't going to happen. Either I was in a relationship or I was married. So, you know, but and don't judge nobody who had it otherwise. I don't. And the reason I don't is because the stuff a woman deals with, man, it's crazy, the stuff a woman have to deal with, especially a single woman, a single mother. having to maintain those children, can't run. Sometimes you want to run, but you can't run because you got to make sure they all right. You know, sometimes you want to scream, you want to holler, you want to cry, you want to you're just tired. You want to even give up, but you don't. You know, then you got to fuss and fight with your ex-husband or your husband or your separated husband or your BD. You got to deal with that. Then they go and meet somebody else and you got to deal with them fools because they think they got something. They think they know more than you. And they want to throw up in your face and flaunt somebody that you done had and got rid of for the same reason that they going to have them and get rid of them. I'm telling you, us women deal with some stuff. You got to maintain your bills. You got to go to work. You got to get a car. You got to pay the insurance on the car. You got to, and at the same time, you got to help with homework. You got to smile. You try to sneak some time in with your friends. You try to develop and build a relationship because you're in a new relationship. So you're trying to build that. You're trying to work with him. You're trying to stream through that. You know, I tell you the stuff women have to deal with. Church, you want to try to raise your children up with some values, some Christian values, valuing themselves, especially if you got daughters. It's a whole nother level of teaching. If you got sons, that's another level of teaching. Two separate types of teaching, but still teaching them the same standards. It is a lot. Women have to deal with a whole lot. And I'm telling you right now, I can't see a man not respecting a woman and pounding on a woman and mistreating a woman and just because of his childhood trauma and the stuff that he have to deal with. Because women just have to deal with so much. Your mama had to deal with it. Your sister have to deal with it. Your aunties have to deal with it. Your grandmothers had to deal with it. I mean, it's rough. And then on top of that, being a woman, now you're a woman that is of a certain race. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Us. You know, even worse. And you know, I ain't saying we have it easier or we're better. I'm just saying worse. Just have it tougher. We certainly won't know better. You know, just having it tougher. But just in general, aside from just color, just a woman in general having to deal, especially a woman that's a single mother and having to deal with it. And that ain't got no color to it. It's just rough. So, you know, man, my hat goes out. You know, I tip my hat, to women today that have to deal with what we had to deal with because I was stubborn. I ain't want no help, not no government help. Not to say that I shouldn't have taken it. You know, pride goes before the fall. And maybe I should have, but I was just too proud. And I lived a life when I was a child I was embarrassed by. I used to hate to take food stamps to the store for my mama. It was just embarrassing. So I meant and I vowed that I would never do it. And God blessed me where I had jobs and had good jobs and was able to take care of my children. And sometimes I failed. Sometimes I fell through, you know, and then on top of that, without or very little child support. Come on now. Come on, somebody. Women, I tell you, I know what we had to deal with yesterday, but I can't even imagine what you single women have to deal with today. Baby, my hat goes out to you. Have an amazing day.